B-Team, we're back.
And we got Lukas back. And this is the week of the
What's
draft.
up?
And the final mock is coming out midnight on Wednesday.
Correct. It's almost there. I keep making small changes, but it's almost there.
Lucas, I know that, again, you're still having a tentative mock right now. Hopefully it will be, I want to hear what, just text me about it because I want to make sure, because I don't know what the hell the Jets are doing. I'm completely lost. So I guess with that being said, we know your top 15 picks, so just kind of run through them real quick, and then 15 to 32, let's get right into it, man.
Yeah, you got it.
Well, wait.
Top 15 changed since the
I was
last time
gonna
I
ask
did
that,
talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did
should
change
ask
a
that.
little bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, I mean, the more I look at this, the more I'm just like, JJ McCarthy's ruining this entire draft. Because it's not like the
kill
Will
you.
Levis thing where it's like he's not. Like last year, I was kind of just like, Will Levis probably isn't going in the first round, or if he is, he's going really late. I'm convinced JJ McCarthy's going early. I just don't know when or where or what team's going to trade up for him. Like, I have no clue. And to me, that is like the biggest holdup in this entire draft. And I think it's like the biggest domino to fall in this draft. I mean, ironically enough. Do you guys agree with that?
I mean, I agree with it because I'm nervous now. So me and Lucas placed a bet. Lucas placed it.
We put our money where our mouth is.
We did. That's exactly what he did. It was either for him to go four or five. It was plus.
Yeah, we placed two separate bets.
Insane plus
All right,
money.
so let me
Go
just quickly. I know you guys want me to get into this mock draft. The odds on FanDuel for JJ McCarthy to go right now, his odds are at 5.5, right? And he's minus 155 to go under 5.5, aka 1-5.
Okay.
So the odds at him going fourth specifically are plus 420, and the odds for him to go fifth specifically are plus 450. So I told Mike, I was like, if there's this big of a difference in the odds, like you might as well just throw something on it. 'Cause it's a good bet even if it loses, like because the odds are so good.
Yeah.
You double your money if he goes 4 or 5, which to me is the most logical place a team could trade out of.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, that makes a lot of sense because you look at who's in the top 3 and you're like, none of them should take him. But that's the thing. None of them should take him. But
Right.
they all need a quarterback.
And just the more this goes on, the more crazy stuff I'm hearing. We'll get into the mock, but now I'm hearing like the latest rumors Joe Alt is like going to the Chargers, and I'm just like, I can't wrap my brain around it.
Yep.
I saw a mock JC Latham going to the Titans, and I'm like, yo, like I'm nervous about Dallas Turner even going to Atlanta. I mean, they could go offense at this point, but I mean, again, I think that's still the most solidified one because again, the Titans could do whatever they want for O-line at 7. They really have any choice of O-line that fits their scheme, and whoever, I think his name was Brian Callahan, whoever he wants. But.
Yeah, this Joe Alt thing to me, people are now comparing him to Joe Thomas, which I just think is insane. Like Joe Alt is an extremely good player. Do not get me wrong. They're comparing him to the man, Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, can't do it. He's good. He's not that good. I just can't. I don't know.
Big expectation right there. Joe Thomas is the legend. He was the highlight of the Browns for that whole decade.
Decade.
Yeah, but going into that draft, he was like, wasn't he like the Caleb Williams of that draft? Like you knew he was going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
Like Joe Alt's going to be good, but I'm not getting that feeling. Like he sure could develop into it, but I don't think he's just like this walk on the field and give him a gold jacket type player.
Yeah, these comps are getting so out of hand now. Like, and now everyone, they have that certain level that they try to like categorize their prospect that they're taking to like for quarterbacks,
legend of
Pat
the game.
Mahomes, like
they're
Pat Mahomes, offensive line, fucking Joe Thomas, wide receiver, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. It's like
we should be
trying
starting
to find the next
with
one.
like comparing them to Deuce Vaughn and to Taylor Heineke. Like, let's start there and work our way up.
Desmond Ridder,
starting with Patrick Mahomes and like a Derrick Henry and like a Joe Thomas. Like, we at some point we just have to laugh and realize these people are just fucking with us.
Probably gotta be. All right, well, I'm going to dive right into it now.
Let's get into it.
We'll get into this. So number one, we know Caleb. We talked about it at length last week. Lock it in now. The question is, how long do the Bears take to send in this pick? I guess the over-under is probably like 7 minutes of them just like, showing Ryan polls and talking about the trade. So Caleb Williams, number one, to the Bears. To chalk that one up as a W.
Yep.
Number two, I'm sticking with Jaden Daniels. I know there's been odds, there's been talk shifting to Drake May. I just think, and the report came out that the Commanders made up their mind finally at number 2, and they're not moving at it 2. Uh, I'm just sticking with Jaden Daniels. It's been the guy I think was going to go there for a while. I know Mike kind of disagreed with me on this.
I changed
Before
it now.
I continue, do you still think it's Daniels now?
Yeah, it's Daniels. It just makes so much sense between Cliff and what kind of quarterback is kind of in his niche, and he's a
Right.
Heisman winner. Like I can't. I feel like I put that aside at the start, but like he was a Heisman winner. I mean, he's played also in the SEC in comparison to Drake May, where he played at UNC. I mean, that's just a completely different level of competition. I think Jay Daniels is the guy, 100%.
So number 3, this is where it gets interesting.
Don't say it.
People are saying, I mean, I'm putting Drake May there. The rumors are that the Patriots could be swayed to move out of that pick. Maybe they move around. Maybe the Vikings trade up to there. Maybe the Giants move up there. Now, this is a scenario I haven't really thought about. And the more we get closer to it, I'm like, could the Giants move up to 3 for Drake May and the Patriots drop back to 6 and they're still in striking distance for JJ? Sure, it's a possibility, I guess, if they're high on him. Would the Giants do something like that? And Mike, I know I talked to you about this. The thing that scares me the most is that Josh McCown coached Drake May in high school. And who's Josh McCown coach for now? The freaking Vikings. So if there's one team in this draft that would like go crazy for Drake May and give up like 4 picks for him, it would be the Vikings.
Yeah.
I sure, hopefully not, especially for a bet, but I'm keeping him to the Patriots there. 4, I know people love to talk about that video of Monty working the phones last year. I think it's cool. It's very draft day-esque. At some point, they just have to take a really good player, and I have them just taking Marvin Harrison there.
Yeah.
You can move around the board all you want, accumulate all these picks, but until you start hitting on them, it doesn't really mean much. So I'm just sticking with they're going to take the best player there. 5, I think I had this last week. I have the Vikings trading up to 5 with the Chargers.
Yep.
I have them taking JJ there.
Yep.
And this is what I've been convinced was going to happen all along. Thus why I told Mikey to place the bet. But
We had to. The value
This
is
is
way
where
too good, bro.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But this is where people are saying, well, the Chargers could stay there at 5 and take Joe Alt. And I'm just like, now this is, I mean, feel free to hop in on this conversation, but they already have Rashawn Slater, who was an all-pro as a rookie at left tackle. Are they really going to take Joe Alt, who's this, what some people are calling a generational left tackle prospect, and just make him play right tackle? To me, that doesn't make sense.
I don't think so, because when you have a guy like Herbert and you lose not only Keenan Allen, but when Mike Williams was healthy, I mean, solid wide receiver too. Obviously he had his injuries, but you can't go into the season right now with a guy who's your franchise quarterback and have Josh Palmer as wide receiver 1 or Quentin Johnson. I mean, nothing on Josh Palmer. I think he's a solid player and can get better. But if, for example, like you said, if say the Cardinals do trade out, because we're going to do our mock after this too, and say the Vikings trade up with the Cardinals or the Giants trade up with the Cardinals, that means Marvin Harrison's going to be there at 5. If 4 quarterbacks go right off the bat, and you have a team like the Chargers at 5 who are in desperate need of course, all offensive line, but a receiver, a number 1 true receiver like Marvin Harrison, it's going to take them a massive premium to move out of that spot.
Yeah.
You see, so now I'm not even convinced of that, though, because so for me, the mock draft exercise is following the breadcrumbs, right? Like I'm giving you the Josh McCown nuggets. You got to connect the dots where
Yes.
people aren't really looking. For me, so if you listen to Daniel Jeremiah, who covers the Chargers, he's fully convinced that even if Marvin Harrison was there, they wouldn't take him.
Really?
He thinks they're going O-line or trade back. I'm fully convinced they're going trade back. And my reasoning behind that is if they trade back with the Vikings, even with Marvin Harrison there, if they trade back with the Vikings, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You can get 2 first-round picks, and you have an early second in a deep receiver class. You're going to be able to build a solid core of 3 players there that'll be immediate starters for you.
You got options there too.
And I know what I just said about the Cardinals and Marvin Harrison, but I think the Chargers roster is further ahead. Like,
Absolutely.
I don't think their line is as bad as people say. Their line's kind of fine.
I agree. I think their defense is much on the worst end.
But sure, to your point, they very well could stay there and take Marvin Harrison. They have options. To me, reading into what Daniel Jeremiah said about the Chargers not taking a receiver there and probably trading out just tells me a lot because he covers the team and he seems fully convinced of that. So, interesting nuggets there. But I have the Vikings moving up to 5 for JJ. 6, I have Malik Neighbors. I think the Giants could go Rome Odunze here. There has been some off-the-field stuff with Malik Neighbors that I don't really know the in and out of. But if I learned anything from last year, it's just if you are between 2 guys, just put the better player there. See what happens. I think Neighbors is better than Odunze, so he goes there. 7, Joe Alt to the Titans, like the ultimate dream scenario for them. They need a left tackle badly. He fits the mold perfectly. 8, I have Atlanta. Now, this is interesting, too. I think this is a big pivot point in the draft because I think teams... I still don't fully know what the Bears are going to do, but I think teams might view this as a spot to get in front of them to get Rome Odunze. I think the Jets could be one of them. In this mock here, I have the Falcons staying put and taking Dallas Turner. I talked about it last week. I think his fit with Raheem Morris is really good. I saw what he did with the Rams defense last year and Byron Young, and I draw that similarity. People are also talking about Byron Murphy going as early as 8, which I think is interesting. So something to keep your eyes out on. Number 9, the Chicago Bears. I know last time, so again, I think this is another hot trade-out spot. For the sake of this mock on just trying to match player to team, I left the Bears as is. In this scenario, if the Bears didn't take Rome Odunze, I can almost guarantee you they will trade out. I just didn't know to who and for what, so I just left them there because it didn't really change how the mock played out. So I have the Bears taking Byron Murphy, whether it's at 9, 12, 15, 17. I think Byron Murphy's their dude. They need a disruptive defensive tackle very badly. I think the people are blowing getting Caleb Williams help at a proportion because I think if they can move back and get a second-round pick, they can address receiver there. Because, I mean, they have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen this year. Like, really, they just need a third wide receiver, which you can easily address in the second round, but you have to get that second-round pick and a trade back. But Byron Murphy reminds me a lot of the rise of Darnell Wright last year. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Stud.
It was kind of right before the draft where people are like, yeah, this guy's going to go way higher than you think. And we're starting to see that this week with Murphy. I think the rumors of him going in the top 10 are probably driven by the Bears. Like I said, they have a huge need there, and Matty Eberflus has gone on record saying 3-Tech is the engine of his defense. So, huge need filled. I think they go Byron Murphy. Jets on the clock at 10. This is their dream scenario. Rome Odunze going to the Jets. I think it's entirely possible he falls to them or they trade up for him at 8. Mike, what do you think?
Rome Odunze to the Jets. That's what Lucas has. Guess he's smiling. I mean, listen. Regardless, they're pretty much in a BPA scenario. Win now mode. You're taking either Brock or Rome. Long term /
I could see him taking Fuaga too.
Those are probably the 3 that I want and I'd be happy with. I mean, they could take Troy Fatano or Fatanu. If they go defense, I might just burn my jersey to the ground. But if they take in those positions, those 3 guys, you got to be happy with that. I mean, they can't frig it up. They can't mess it up. You have to take.
I think Rome Odunze is a great replacement for Mike Williams too. If Mike Williams isn't your long-term solution,
he's only on a 1-year deal as well. So I mean, right. Just to get
and he's not even guaranteed to be healthy. I mean, he's coming off the ACL. You don't know if he'll be ready week 1. So,
Good point.
I honestly don't know why Rome Odunze hasn't been mocked to the Jets as much. Like the more I look at it, I'm like, people never put him there. It's either Fuaga or Bowers, and normally what like 90% of the people have is normally wrong. So
yeah,
it makes me feel better to be on the flip side of it.
Did you watch that video I sent you about his press conference?
I watched pieces of it.
the way it was, I wouldn't say eye opening, but there was just like slight alarms going off, but like not in a bad way. Like the way he talked about Zach Wilson, obviously you knew he was gone right off the bat. Bam, gets traded, 2 days later. The tight end room, like I think the way he spoke about it, it seemed like he was happy with where we're at because he likes Tyler Conklin. He has faith in Jeremy Ruckert. He could just be through it all smoke and just take Brock Bowers, who knows. But he said as well with the O-line in the receiving room that we have solid depth, not just with the stars, but we also have depth, but both could be room for improvement, whether that's, again, Fuaga, another old lineman, or Rome and another receiver. So again, we've seen a lot of tight ends getting mocked to the Jets. I don't know, man. I mean, I was like not certain, but I was pretty sure that Brock was the route that they were going to go, but I feel like it's kind of changing now. I mean, I told Gassy before we even started recording, I'm like, dude, I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea because all of it as well, it depends on how the draft falls beforehand. Like if Rome is still there, say Brock somehow gets taken top 10, I mean, it's probably going to be Rome. They're going to try everything possible to get him. So I don't know. They're a massive wild card for me, but it's going to be one of those 3 players, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think what happens with the Jets will largely depend on what the Bears do, but I can already see it now. Bears fans losing their minds like they did last year when they traded out of Carter and took Darnell Wright. Like, I think it's going to be the same thing this year where, dude, I could even see the Bears trading back with the Jets so the Jets could go up and get Rome and the Bears move back one spot and take Byron Murphy or just something like that.
Yeah.
And the fans lose their mind.
That
Funny
makes
enough,
sense, too.
Caleb Williams and Romadunze were taking photos together on their flight to Detroit for the draft. They're like big buddies now, but Bears fans' hearts will be broken, is my prediction.
Civil War
Pray
again.
for Bears.
Civil
Pray for
War.
the Bears.
Civil War yet again.
All right, now 11. This is where it gets interesting. This is my favorite Brock Bowers fit in the draft, is the freaking Chargers. Like,
Yeah.
if the Chargers move back with JJ, like, all right, so Jim Harbaugh talks about building the trenches. A tight end is still part of the trenches, right? And if you look at his OC, Greg Roman, I mean, their passing game isn't a traditional passing game, but what it does go through is a great tight end, always. I mean, if you look at
Mark
Jim
Andrews.
Harbaugh working in San Francisco with Vernon Davis, Mark Andrews in Baltimore, I mean, the list goes on and on. I love this fit for the Chargers. Like, I could totally see them taking a tackle like Fuaga or Latham here. But if they trade back and get 11 and 23, Brock Bowers is a great fit for that team.
Mm-hmm.
He fits what they want to do, and he gets Justin Herbert, an actual pass catcher.
Yep.
That would be like, if you play fantasy, that would be like the best possible situation for that, man.
That's not even just for fantasy. I think that's just a home run for the Chargers in general. Like, I mean, Gerald Everett was pretty solid for them, and then obviously they moved on from him. I mean, even when Herbert first came up and he had Hunter Henry for those like first 2 years, I mean, the dude was like a top 5 tight end in fantasy. Justin will find, like, he needs that security blanket. That was Keenan. I mean, Keenan was a top 3 receiver last year before he got hurt. Like, if they find a guy for him that's gonna get open and is gonna find the holes in the zone, Herbert's gonna find him. Herbert's gonna target him. He knows his players and their strengths, and he's just gonna feed them. And Brock is that guy that he'll feed.
And I love the fit in this type of offense where
Makes
it's not
sense.
like they're going to be running 5 wide all the time. Like, the passing game will run very largely through the tight end. It's exactly what Harbaugh wants. So I don't know if it's a well-kept secret, but again, it's one of those things not a lot of people are mocking. The fit makes so much sense for me. I love it. Brock Bowers to the Chargers. That's my pick there.
Also
Pick
signed
12.
J.K. Dobbins. Just want to point that out. If he's healthy, watch out.
If he's healthy.
Big if.
Pick 12, I think this is another spot, another team where they probably really want to get out, especially in this situation. But again, much like the Bears pick, I didn't know how to get them out to where for what. So I just left them there. But I have the Broncos taking Latu. I think this is the guy they could potentially trade back and get. I don't really know how teams view his medicals. I mean, if you just watch the guy play, though, if you watch the guy play, he kind of gives me shades of like TJ Watt, like how TJ Watt kind of just flew under the radar, and you're just like, this guy's really good, and then like he just falls to the end of the first round for no reason. That's Latu to me. Like I just feel like I would not be shocked if he came in the league in like 3 years. You were like, oh, he's top 5 in sacks. Like he's just a beast.
Mm-hmm. I have a question real quick. Obviously with the news, do you think with the Zach Wilson trade, do you think that alters their draft strategy? Like kind of the quarterback maybe isn't. You
No.
think they're still like kind of in the hunt for a quarterback?
Yeah, I just don't think any of these second tier quarterbacks will really. I think these second tier quarterbacks will probably go in the second round. I don't think they'll sneak in the first round like everyone thinks. Maybe one of them, but I don't like saying Knicks and Penix will both go in the first round. I say long shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know we've seen that a lot. One of those guys is going to fall.
Yeah, and I could totally see a team like trading up to the end of the first round so they get the 5th-year option or something, but I don't know. So I have Latu going to the Broncos. Pick 13, this is a pick I go back and forth on a lot. I have the Raiders in this draft taking Fuaga. I'm so torn between him and Latham. They're both just really. I mean, we talked about this last time. Like, it just fits what Antonio Pierce wants to do if you get either of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think Fuaga is probably a meaner run blocker, so I put him in here, but I think Latham's just as good of a fit here, and I really couldn't choose. So Latham, by the way, I think if the Chargers traded back, that's another high possibility pick for them. Latham was a guy that Harbaugh recruited heavily coming out of high school, so they have that connection, which is interesting. So if the Chargers do trade back with the Vikings at 11 and didn't take Brock Bowers, I think Latham or Fuag would be a good pick there as well. 14, I have the Saints taking Olu. I think they need both tackles very desperately. I'm just giving them left tackle in this case.
Mm-hmm.
15, Colts, Quinyon Mitchell, kind of a chalk mock pick. Just Chris Ballard and his love for measurables, and Quinyon Mitchell has all of them. Tests off the chart. Great athlete. Fills a big need for them.
Mm-hmm.
There has been a lot of smoke about the Colts trading up. I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm buying it.
Chris Ballard hasn't traded up in the first round ever.
Yeah.
Is he really going to do it this year?
Yeah. I feel like 15 is one of those spots where you kind of just let the draft happen and you just kind of sit back and wait because you're still finding quality players at that position. So, again, yeah, Chris Ballard, same thing. Not really a big trade-up guy in the draft. But, yeah, so that's a top 15. I know the next 15. Just run through them. You don't even have to, like, talk about them much because I do want to talk about a couple other things before we let you go. So just kind of like rapid fire through and
sure thing. Yeah. But I do have one kind of hang up here.
What do we got?
16 is interesting. I think this is potentially the early spot for Cooper DeJean. Might sound weird. I like the fit in Seattle a lot. I think Mike McDonald uses his kind of jack of all trades safety like they drafted Kyle Hamilton for in Baltimore. I think Cooper DeJean could fit that role for them. So this pick I'm not sold on, but I put Jared Verse here for now. I think they need a pass rusher. Fits well, but don't be shocked if Cooper DeJean goes early, especially to Seattle. I think they're kind of one of those wild card teams in the draft every year.
Yeah.
Jaguars, Terrion Arnold. Big need for a corner there. They could also go receiver, but I have them penciled in there. The Bengals here at 18, I have taken J.C. Latham. I think they get very lucky in this situation, just getting fantastic right tackle who can play right guard. He fits exactly the kind of mold of tackles they like. I mean, you look at Orlando Brown and the dude they signed from the Patriots. They're both just gigantic human beings. And you add Latham in that mix, who's probably the strongest lineman in this draft. And it's good luck. You just plug him in at right guard and you're kicking ass this year. 19, I know the focus for the Rams is on defense. I have them going elsewhere. I have them taking Brian Thomas here. I think Sean McVay with his first pick as the Rams head coach in the first round. Pure explosion. Add him in that offense with Nakua and Cooper Kupp. Matt Stafford will be cooking.
Yep.
20, I have the Steelers going Graham Barton. Typical Steelers pick, just taking a very good football player, plug and play starter off the bat. Love the fit there. 21, I mean, this is probably my wildest pick of the first round, Miami Dolphins. I have them taking Xavier Worthy.
I knew it.
I have them saying, like, I don't even think Worthy's that good, but I have Mike McDaniel just saying, fuck it, let's just go vapor offense and
super
put
speed.
this guy there. Like him, Waddle, and Hill would be ridiculous.
That'd be
Even
a
though I don't really like
problem.
Worthy's game that much, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
22, I have the Eagles taking Amarius Mims. Put that guy through Stoutland University, and he's probably a star tackle in 2 years. I mean, they have Lane Johnson for at least another year, but he's in the twilight of his career there. 23, this is where I have the Chargers' second first round pick. I have them taking Troy Fatano. So this is what I was telling you about, Mike. Like, if the Chargers trade out of that spot, you could potentially get a Brock Bowers or a Rome Odunze and also get an extremely good tackle. And in this case, Troy Fatanu plays all 5 positions across the line. Jim Harbaugh played him in the national championship. You're just getting a very good football player there.
Yep.
24, Muller's Dallas Cowboys are taking Tyler Guyton, another project-y type tackle.
Such a perfect Cowboys pick. Yeah,
it's such a Cowboys pick. Dude.
I was really
and he's from
hoping,
Oklahoma. I'm just like, that's it.
I was really hoping you were going to say we were going to trade out and there would be no misery. You know, like there's no way that this pick goes well for us, but continue.
Well, it's either going to be Guyton or it's going to be some guy that's projected in the middle of the second round, like probably like Kingsley Suamatia or something like that they'll take because the Cowboys just do whatever they want. But
yes,
I think Tyler Guyton's a good fit for them, actually. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
The Green Bay Packers, kind of another one of those teams. They just generally draft well in the first round, take good players. I have them taking Cooper DeJean. I think they need a cornerback and a safety, and he plays both. You can use him anywhere in that defense.
2 Iowa guys in a row.
No, Guyton went to Oklahoma.
No, I'm saying for the Packers because they took Van Ness last year, right?
Yes, they did. Yep.
Loading up on the Iowa boys. Nice.
26, I have the Bucks taking Chop Robinson.
Nice.
I don't know. I like that fit in this defense. I think he's got a lot of pass rush potential, but he's not for every team because he's not the biggest. But I think the Bucks will take a chance on him. 27, I have the Cards going Nate Wiggins with their second first rounder. Really like Wiggins he just flies around the field. It's like super athlete. And honestly, he reminds me a lot of Rogers Cromartie, who obviously also played for the Cardinals, but I think he'll fit in well there with what Gannon wants to do. 28, I have A.D. Mitchell going to the Bills. I feel like this is kind of another chalky pick, but I don't know. I like the fit here. I like A.D.'s upside in that offense with Josh Allen. I think he could explode. 29, one of my favorite fits in this entire mock draft is Darius Robinson going to the Lions. He's a born and raised Detroit boy. Went to Missouri. He's a little undersized, but as Dan Campbell would say, he's got that dog in him. He just fits what they want to do, man. Like the mentality, everything. And he's probably not really even projected a first round pick, but you put all that together and you're like, this is a Dan Campbell Lions pick through. 30, I went back and forth for the Ravens. At first, I had Ladd McConkey in there, and then I was like, well, their OC used to coach at Georgia, and I feel like the Ravens just have a knack for taking good players in the first round. But then I changed it to Jordan Morgan. I feel like they have needs along the offensive line are too great, and I think Morgan plays. He's probably more of a guard in the NFL, but you could play him at tackle. But I think if you plugged him in there right away at guard, he'd be fine. So I have him going there. 31, another great fit. If this happened, it's just like the 49ers taking Johnny Newton, I think would be a great fit. They get their Javon Hargrave replacement. I have him sliding just a tiny bit because of the injury concerns.
Yep.
And then 32 to wrap up the first round, I have the Chiefs taking Kingsley Suamatia to anchor the left side of their line.
Yeah.
I know every year people mock receivers there. I mean, Mahomes is so good. You just need to protect him, and that's it.
Last year, they struggled to protect him.
They did, big time. I think Suamatia is kind of a project, but he's got traits that could turn him into a very, very solid tackle for them for a long time.
Yeah. No, I see it.
I like the changes that you've made, and I also like when we were here before, I know we have a couple minutes here. Before I really enjoyed like your first top 15. I think it made sense, but again, that's been 2 weeks, and we even said like 2 weeks from now, there's gonna be a lot more smoke and there's gonna be a lot more rumors going around. I think I have maybe about like 4 points here. We kind of already touched on the one about like JJ. I mean, the Giants, the Vikings, like that whole group between Cardinals, even the Patriots, we said this early, they are still a trade back candidate. They can be a massive wild card and get the hell out of that spot. If they don't love Drake May, or if, for instance, they don't love Jaden Daniels, if the Commanders pass up on him, I mean, that is just a swing. That's a swing position. That can fuck up the whole draft.
You could have a team like the Broncos moving up there.
Yeah.
Like something crazy.
Yeah. I like the Latu pick to the Broncos. I think that it's kind of like a necessary one because of his production that he had at UCLA. I mean, the dude is a freak athlete, just a hustler, not going to take plays off. I do like that pick a lot. The Rams, kind of an interesting team because they haven't had a first-round pick since, I think, Jared Goff. So
right. This is the first pick Sean McVay will have in the first round.
They could go they can go so many directions. I think the Brian Thomas one is definitely a luxury draft pick. I don't really know where they go. I mean, they could really pull some shit out of their ass, and they could take a
Team
damn
to watch.
quarterback if they want to.
Team to watch for Bo Nix is the Rams.
Yes.
I was just going to say.
I was thinking about that earlier,
California
too.
guy.
I'm like, the Rams, obviously they have Stafford. I mean,
I think they're going offense, though. Like, I really do. I think
that's what they do.
Whether
They have
I
to.
think it'll be tackle, wide receiver, or quarterback. I mean, they do need an edge rusher,
And now, yeah.
and they need a D tackle.
For
But if
replacement.
Byron Murphy goes early, I mean, Kobe Turner had a really good rookie year. So I don't know. Sure, it's a luxury pick, but you could totally see the Rams doing it. I guess that's my point.
No, for sure. And like you have a guy like Brian Thomas who's ready to play, but also can learn behind Cooper Kupp and
But let's be
Matthew
real.
Stafford and
He
Puka.
also complements them well because those
Yes.
guys aren't necessarily field stretching burners, and
Agreed.
Brian Thomas isn't your route running savant. I mean, he's kind of just straight line speed, flying down the field. Like, it would be a good fit for them, honestly.
I feel like that's what they wanted with Van Jefferson, but it just never really went
Right.
to their plan. And like that was the one piece that they were kind of missing out on. You could see it in the way like that offense was formed. He wasn't throwing bombs downfield. He was throwing like 30-yard like drags and crosses, but like when it comes to just straight go routes or post routes, 50 yards down the field, I mean, he wasn't throwing those. Maybe some to Puka here and there, but different complexity when you have Brian Thomas, where you could really take the top off the defense. I think it's a good fit. Two more things here. The Bills for Adonai. I feel like everyone has that penciled in. Is Adonai, I know you love Adonai. Do you think that there is any other receiver that they could also go for? Even if they may possibly trade up, they could be another trade-up candidate.
If the board fell like this, no.
No.
I could totally see them pulling a complete Buffalo Bills and taking like a defender or some crazy BS.
That'd be
But-
great. I love that. And
I mean, if the board fell like this and it was just like 80 Mitchell and a bunch of second round graded receivers, I don't know.
Mhm.
Probably not, but what do I know? I could see him taking like Cooper DeJean or something like that.
yeah, they lost a lot of players, so I think just the whole shipping off Stephon Diggs. I mean, you got to get a guy. I mean, in the division that they're in, between going against guys like Sauce and Christian Gonzalez and Jalen Ramsey, you need to get a guy. I mean,
Who are the receivers right now? They signed
Khalil Shakir,
Curtis
Dawson
Samuel,
Knox,
right?
Curtis Samuel, Dalton Kincaid. I mean, besides that, I don't know anyone else but besides receiver. But it's really just those two guys. And I have one more thing here, and then we're gonna wrap up. The Bucks, they can really just go BPA, right? I mean, they can pick anyone they want.
I do love the Chop Robinson fit in that defense, though. I think it fits really well for what they want to do and what the kind of players they draft. Like I don't know, like Kalijah Kancey was kind of the same way last year,
Yep.
undersized, just really fast, athletic D lineman. Like that's Todd Bowles' like type of player. And I think if there's I think there is a chance Chop Robinson could fall a little bit because of that, but I think if there's a team that's going to take a risk on him, it'll be the Bucks, and he also fills the need for them at edge rusher.
Yeah, again, just any position that kind of comes up and whatever they feel like taking. If there's someone who is projected high but kind of falls through, I mean, the Bucks are going to take him.
I'll put it this way to you: there's a few picks in this draft, that I'll be going back and forth on up until it's time to turn it in. That one will not change. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I like it.
Chop's going to the Bucks.
Choppy. Chop Bravo. Lucas, this is great. Again, I know we're going to have to cut you off, sucks, because we got to do our mock as well.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to hear that then.
Yeah, it's going to be something. But we really appreciate you coming on these last couple weeks, man. It's been great. I mean, just great content in general. Just helping other people out with their draft, obviously listening to your mock, which I love. I mean, I'm tailing your mock the whole time. That's why I put that damn bet down. But no, we really appreciate the time that you've given us, dude. It's been super fun, and we'll make sure to continue this. I mean, even off camera too. I know we'll be seeing you hopefully soon. And I'm excited, bro. Yeah. So once that mock is finally set in stone, send it to us because we want to kind of hype it up.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. I will it's due tomorrow night at midnight. So I will get that sent over to you guys. Super stoked about it. And hopefully I can come in better than 10th place like I did last year.
Yes, you will.
Top 3 or bust. Top 3 or bust.
Top 3 or bust. All right, we'll see. And I extended this invite to Mikey. I know he's going to the bar, but you guys are welcome to hop on our live stream draft night if you guys want. No pressure either way. We'll just be hanging out, shooting the breeze.
I'm telling you, next week, hit me up because I will hop on the pod. I don't care. Like, I'm down.
Yeah, we can totally review it, but I'm saying if you want to come on for the draft, or if you don't, no big deal. But we'll be streaming it. So
I might be
gone.
Well, gone.
That's fine.
That might be better.
Jets took fucking Chop Robinson. Kill myself.
Oh my god.
But look,
all right, fellas, I'll let you get to your own mock, and you guys make sure you send it over my way then, so I can watch it as well.
Yes, sir.
Man. Thank you again, Lucas. You're the man, bro.
Yeah.
Lucas Berry.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Awesome. Hell yeah, bro. We'll talk, brother.